Welcome to World of Winners Easy English Grammar Learning Class. For a better beginning, World of Winners. Degrees of Comparison. Part 2. Model number 2. Comparing one person or thing among the whole. Format and transformation. First format. Superlative degree. Format. First subject plus verb plus the plus superlative degree plus complement means balance sentence. Example, Salim is the shortest boy in the class. Next, comparative degree. Form, subject plus verb plus comparative degree plus than plus any other plus complement. Example, Salim is shorter than any other boy in the class. Here, you have to learn that superlative degree and comparative degree start with subject and verb respectively. Now, positive degree. Form. No other plus complement. Complement means words other than subject, verb, or adjective. Plus verb. Plus as positive degree plus as means as big as tall as. Plus subject. No other boy in the class is as short as Salim. Arjun is the tallest boy in the class. This is entirely different from the first model. Here, Arjun is compared to the whole children in the class. This question can be transferred to comparative degree, positive degree, superlative degree. If the question is in superlative degree, we can change it into positive degree and comparative degree. If the question is in comparative form, we can transform that sentence into the other two degrees, positive and superlative respectively. If the question is in positive degree, we can change it into comparative and superlative. That is the speciality of this model. So before writing the answer, we have to make sure that what kind of degree is given here. Arjun is the tallest boy in the class. The tallest. So this is superlative form of adjective, superlative degree. So first of all, how can we change the superlative degree into comparative degree? Before changing a superlative degree into comparative degree, we have to follow certain steps. First of all, we have to underline the superlative form of adjective. What is that? Is the tallest. This is not necessary, this is not mandatory. But if you are doing certain steps like that, definitely it is sure that you will not make any mistakes while writing the answer. Why should I underline the superlative degree including the? Because whenever you are writing the answer or whenever you are interchanging the superlative into comparative or positive degree, we should not repeat or we should not write it again while writing the answer. If you are using this, they are tallest, definitely your answer will be wrong. So the next point is, whenever you are writing the comparative degree, it should be started with subject and verb respectively. Like the superlative degree, the comparative form is also begins with subject and verb respectively. So we can merely copy the question. See, this is superlative degree and now we are writing the comparative degree. Comparative degree also started with subject. Arjun. Next is verb. I have already mentioned that you should not repeat the tallest, so that you have to avoid. Instead of that, what degree we are writing? comparative degree. So instead of the superlative degree, you have to write the comparative form, tallest. What is the comparative form? Taller. Comparative form is immediately followed by than. Taller than, shorter than. Whenever you are writing the answer, after writing the comparative form, immediately you have to write than. Taller than, shorter than, bigger than, in such a way. Next, we are adding one extra word, one extra phrase. That is any other. Whenever we transform a sentence into another pattern, definitely we should not change the meaning of the sentence. So, in order not to change the meaning of the sentence, we have to use here any other. Arjun is, see, Arjun subject, we have all written. From what is the question, like that only? Arjun is verb. So it is. This should not be written. Instead of that, the comparative form should be written. Comparative form is followed by than. And this is the extra word we are using or adding any other. So in order not to change the meaning, we are using this phrase any other. So again we can continue. This should not be written. Again, next. See, Arjun is taller than any other boy in the class. So positive degree. Unlike the superlative degree and comparative degree, the positive degree should not be started with subject and verb. It should be started in a different way. In this case, we can start our positive degree with no other. In order not to change the meaning, we are using this construction no other. The phrase no other. After no other, you should write the word or phrase that comes after the superlative form of adjective. Here, the tallest is followed by the complement boy in the class. So you have to write this phrase here. Later you can write the verb in the same sentence. What is the verb in this sentence? Verb can be seen after the subject. So subject, verb. So verb should be written later. After verb what? The positive form of this adjective should be used. What is the positive form? Whenever you are cutting the est, you will get the positive form. So tall, that is the positive form, positive degree. This should be placed in between two R's. So R's tell us positive degree should be written in the same way. Positive degree should be used in the same way. As tall as short as big as clever as rich as poor as. Such a way. No other boy in the class is as tall as. Now, finally, we can use the subject. Finished. This is the answer. No other boy in the class is as tall as Arjun. Sanjana is one of the prettiest girls in the class. Superlative degree. Superlative degree. Underline it so that we should not repeat it while writing the answer. the prettiest, superlative degree. And what is special about this question or this model? Here you can see that Sanjana is one of the prettiest. The superlative degree preceded by one of. That is the speciality of. One of the is followed by a plural noun. Noun plural. See, one of the prettiest girls. So we have to follow a different rule while writing the answer. Model number 1, comparing two persons or things. Model number 2, normal model, there is no one of. And model number 3, superlative degree preceded by one of. First of all, we can write the comparative degree. In comparative degree, at the beginning of the sentence, we have to use subject and verb. Subject and later verb. Sanjana is. Sanjana, Sanjana is. You should not use this underlined part. One of the prettiest. This phrase should not be used while writing the answer. Instead of that, use the comparative form. Pretty, prettier, prettiest. So we have to use prettier. Comparative degree is immediately followed by than. Sanjana is prettier than. In the model number 2, we studied that in order not to change the meaning, you used any other. But in this case, in the place of any other, most other should be used. That is the difference. Sanjana is prettier than most other. Continue the sentence, complete the sentence. Most other. Or subject, verb. This underlined part should not be used. Instead of that, comparative form should be used. Comparative form is immediately followed by than. Next, in order not to change the meaning, most other should be used. In which case we have to use most other if the superlative degree preceded by one of in the place of any other, we have to use most other. That is the only one difference. Remaining complete the sentence and positive degree. But in this case, in which case superlative degree preceded by one of, in this case, the phrase very few should be used, very few. After very few, you have to use the remaining part of the words underlined, remaining parts. Or the word or phrase which is used after the superlative form of adjective. So what is that is girls. So girls, this is plural. That is why we used the phrase few. Few means not many. No other, the phrase no other is singular. This is followed by a singular noun. Here it is a plural noun. So in order to qualify this plural noun, we used this phrase very few. So your positive degree should be started with very few, and this is followed by the remaining part of the sentence after the superlative degree. Very few girls in the class. After completing the sentence, we have to use the verb. What is the verb here? Is. But we should not use the singular verb is here because our subject is very few girls. So this is plural. So what once we have to use in order to agree the verb with the subject, we have to use a plural verb. Very careful. While writing the answer in this model, you should not use the singular verb here, but instead of that you have to use plural verb are. That is the plural form of is are. Very few girls in the class are. Next, as usual, verb is followed by adjective. Here we are writing the positive degree, the positive form. Pretty, prettier, prettiest. So pretty. As pretty as the subject. Finished. Very few girls in the class are as pretty as Sanjana. In the same way, we can transform this question into comparative form. Bhaskar is one of the richest men in the village. Before writing the answer, we have to underline one of the richest, so that we should not use this phrase while writing the answer. You should be very careful about this matter. Should not use while writing the answer. Comparative degree. You have to start the comparative degree with the subject and verb respectively, like the superlative degree. So this is superlative degree. How it is started? Like that we have to write the comparative form. So Bhaskar. Second word is one of the prettiest. This should not be used. Instead of that, what is the comparative form? Richer. That is the comparative form. Comparative form is immediately followed by than. We should not use any other, but most other should be preferred. Most other should be preferred. Many other also can be used whenever we have to use a countable noun. Bhaskar is richer than most other. Complete the sentence. Men. Here you should be very careful about the spelling. M-A-N, man, singular, denoting to one. M-E-N, it's a plural form. Here plural form only should be used. Bhaskar is richer than most other men in the village. Or Bhaskar is richer than many other men in the village. Now positive degree. It should be started with very few. Very few is followed by the complement of the sentence. After completing, you have to use the verb, but it should be in plural form. What is the plural form of this is are. After this phrase, you have to use the positive form. Here we are writing the positive degree. So, you have to use the positive form of the adjective given. Positive degree should be placed in between two us. As rich as Bhaskar subject. This is the answer. Very few men in the village are as rich as Bhaskar. Next, model number 4. What is special about this model? Let's check. Rose is not the most beautiful flower in the basket. This is superlative degree, the most beautiful, beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. So this is superlative degree, the most beautiful. Superlative degree is given. Superlative degree is preceded by not. That is the speciality of this sentence. It is preceded by not. So normal model. Next, superlative degree preceded by one of. That is the third model. And now the fourth model is superlative degree preceded by not. Negative. Then what is the answer? As usual, comparative degree first. Comparative degree, like superlative degree, it should be begin with or started with subject and verb. Note should be added. We have to use the same note. The underlined word should not be used. Instead of that, we are writing the comparative degree. So comparative form of this adjective should be used. More beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. For more beautiful, that is the comparative form, should be placed. Rose is not more beautiful. Comparative form is immediately followed by than. In this case, instead of those words, we have to use some other should be used. Some other is followed by plural noun. Rosie is not more beautiful than some other flowers. Begin the positive degree with some other. Some other. So here you should not use the word not, what or maybe some other. Some other. Some other is followed by the words or phrase that comes after the underlined word or the superlative form. Some other flowers, some other is followed by a plural noun. Some other flowers, so flowers, so verb should be plural. Some other flowers are, here we have to use another word, at least. So in order not to change the meaning, we have to use, in this model we have to use the phrase at least. Some other flowers are at least positive degree. Some other flowers are at least as beautiful as rose subject. Some other flowers are at least as beautiful as rose. So, in this case, in this model, which model? The superlative degree preceded by not. Such a case as the positive degree should not start with no other or very few. Instead of that, some other should be used. Some other is followed by a plural noun. So flowers, what noun is given, its a plural form should be used. As the noun is plural, definitely it is followed by a plural verb. That is what we can. Only the word we added is at least. That is in order to equalize the meaning, in order to not change the meaning, we use this word. Remaining after verb, we have to use the positive form of this adjective. That is beautiful. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. It should be placed in between to us. As beautiful as. Next, subject is over. Degrees of comparison at a glance. Model number one, comparative degree. An aeroplane is bigger than a bus. Positive degree. Second noun first, a bus. Next is verb, and this is followed by not. Next, positive degree. It should be placed in between two us. So, as big as. Next, first noun, an aeroplane. Answer, a bus is not as big as an aeroplane. Superlative degree. Everest is the highest peak. You have to change it into comparative degree. So, superlative degree and comparative degree begin with subject and verb respectively. So, in comparative degree, you have to write the subject and verb. So, Everest is. Later, you have to use the comparative form of the adjective given. Here, the highest superlative degree. What is the comparative form? Higher. Comparative form is followed by than. So higher than. Next, in order not to change the meaning, the phrase any other should be used. After we can complete the sentence. So the answer is Everest is higher than any other peak. Now positive degree. Unlike the superlative and comparative degrees, the positive degree should not be started with subject and verb. It starts in a different way. Here, in this case, we have to start the positive degree with the phrase no other. After no other, you have to write the word or phrase which is given after the adjective. Means, if the question is in superlative degree, you should not use the phrase the highest. If the question is in comparative degree, you should not use the phrase higher than any other. Instead of that, the word or phrase which is given after this should be used. Here the word peak should be used. Later is the position of the verb. Verb should be placed. After verb, you have to use the positive degree or positive form of adjective. It should be placed in between two as. So, as, high as. And finally, you can write the subject. So, the answer is no other peak is as high as Everest. That is the answer. Model number 3, superlative degree preceded by one of. Anuja is one of the cleverest girls. Comparative degree, Anuja is cleverer than most other girls. Positive degree, very few girls are as clever as Anuja. Model number 4, superlative degree. Akhil is not the best player in the team. Comparative, Akhil is not better than some other players in the team. Positive degree, some other players are at least as good as Akhil. I hope you understood the topic. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.